What's up, guys? So, I just want to talk a little bit about what's going on since the Martinsville race. I did drop a quick video after the race talking about my thoughts on all of the race manipulation stuff. Um, but now we got more news from NASCAR. They actually went after some of the teams, right? Which I'm all for that. But I got to point something out. And, I know a lot of people probably feel the same way. So let's read this real quick. This is from Jeff Gluck. NASCAR penalties from Martinsville race manipulation. Crew chiefs, spotters, and a team exec for Bubba Wallace, Ross Chastain, and Austin Dillon team suspended for Phoenix. The drivers docked 50 points apiece and fined 100K. After 50-point penalties, Wallace falls from 17 to 18. Chastain remains 19. Dillon from 28 to 33. This is meaningless. This is a slap on the wrist. When you talk about race manipulation, you're talking about something, to me, it's probably more important than anything else. Like, we are talking about the legitimacy of a sport. Once you start talking about cheating or manipulating things, that's a serious problem. So I know a lot of people right now, they're looking at this, they want to blame the playoff system. And yeah, that is partly to blame. But race manipulation has been around for as long as NASCAR has been around. This is not new. I personally think the playoff format can be fixed. I know most people don't want to hear that. They want to go back to the old days of the Winston Point like it was with the Winston Point system. That is not going to happen. Like, it's a different time now. The playoff format has been around for a long time now. This wasn't just implemented yesterday. The problem is NASCAR has ruined it. They've made it worse every year. So the format is fixable. Is it going to ever be perfect? No. But as people have mentioned, I've talked about it. My biggest issue that comes to the top of my head is the winning you're in gimmick. Because that's what it is. It's a gimmick. It doesn't matter how bad your season is. If you are lucky enough to get a win, and it's not always luck, I get it. It's hard to win a race. It's a big deal. But if you had a shitty season, one win should not get you into a playoff system battling for a championship. We're one race away from possibly watching Joey Logano win a championship. That's another thing that's hanging over everyone's head. So get rid of winning you're in. And I don't see why you have to eliminate the people in the playoffs. Like, just let the points decide everything. Larson should still be a part of this. Like, the way that it's structured, it's too gimmicky. I'm going to leave it at that. There's so many things that can be done to improve the playoff system. It's never going to be perfect. There are people out there that don't care. They're going to go to their dying day. They want things to go back the way it used to be. I hate to break it to people. That's not going to happen. I'd rather see them fix it. And get away from the gimmicky side of stuff and make it more about the competition and the points. But this isn't really about that. This is really about the race manipulation and how NASCAR has handled it. So, I have no problem with the fact that they penalize these teams, the spotters, the crew chiefs, all of that. My problem is they didn't penalize Byron. Byron is still going to compete for a championship. What they should have done was disqualify not just Christopher Bell, but Byron. Neither one of them should be competing for a championship. They are just, their hands are just as dirty. I mean, there are people out there making excuses. Other guys were doing whatever. They were just doing their thing. Like, you got to go after everybody. And that includes, and first and foremost, the owners. These owners, this whole thing is a slap on the wrist. And it continues to erode the legitimacy of NASCAR as a sport. It just doesn't feel to me like they care. So NASCAR screwed this up by allowing Hendrick Carr to get in. Byron. He is also knee deep in all this. Like, you got to just boot all of them. Penalize all of them. And then is the world going to come to an end if they say, well, this is just going to be between 3 racers Sunday? You have to do the right thing. And NASCAR always does the wrong thing. They continue to invite controversy. They continue to push people, their fans, into a corner and make them question NASCAR, the legitimacy of it as a sport. This is why they are losing hardcore fans. Whatever casual new fans, short attention span fans they're getting, it's not going to save the sport. It's your long-term hardcore fans. This is crazy. It's like, it's almost as if they are purposely trying to just ruin everything. Like, on purpose. And the last thing I'm going to say is, NASCAR is a great example of what happens when a later generation inherits something that was built by someone that came before them. So Bill France created NASCAR. It was a product of his blood, sweat, and tears, him along with other people, but NASCAR is still a family business, but it's run like a corporation. The people that are now running NASCAR, they're so far detached from the original founder, the founding father, right? And with each generation, it's just going to get watered down. And the reason is, the people that inherit something, no matter how passionate you might be, it's not the same as it's never going to be the same as when it's in the hands of the person who created it. Because that creation came out of something that was more than money. It was a business for sure, but it wasn't just a business for Bill France. So it doesn't matter how much maybe his grandchildren and their children and in the future, whatever, they may grow up part of the business. It's not the same. It's not the same like building something with your own 2 hands that's my baby. And this is why inevitably things never last forever. They always go downhill at some point. And unfortunately, that's what we're witnessing. We're watching a bunch of people that didn't build NASCAR, but they inherited it. It's still a family business, but now it's run as a corporation. There's a lot of involvement from people that don't have the same skin in the game. And this is why you get people making decisions like, oh, win and you're in. And all these gimmicks, right? anything that to them is going to attract a quick turnover and new fans, they're not thinking about the long-term ramifications, right? So if Bill France was still here, right, and I'm not saying he would make mistakes too, right, because you do have to change with the times. You can't run everything like it's still 1950, right? Those days are over. The playoff format, it's been here for a long time now. And I think people are focused on the wrong things. They're still thinking, oh, we can just go back to the way things used to be. That's not going to happen. I really hate to break it to people. I think people are delusional thinking that that can happen. I'd rather focus on fixing the playoff system. It is fixable. And I know a lot of people are going to disagree with me that that's not what they want to hear. But I'm trying to be a realist. Okay? So you got stages. You got winning you're in. You got all these things that, yes, it generates a lot of controversy and a lot of drama. That's what they want because the people running things now, it's a new generation. They think that this is what's good for NASCAR. They're not looking at the long-term ramifications, like I said. They're losing hardcore fans. And no sport is going to survive without hardcore fans. Yeah, you might gain a bunch of casual fans who like all this drama and like, whoa, what's going on? Oh, I got to watch the next race. I want to see what craziness happens there. It wasn't just the Cup race, the truck race and Xfinity. You had people. There's always a controversy now because, you know, if you don't win at all costs, you know whatever it takes. That's the only way you can get to that championship. Well, what do you think's going to happen? It's going to invite dirty driving, a lack of respect, and then you have race manipulation, right? So this is not new, like I said, but NASCAR always looked the other way. And this time they were forced to act, but even then they can't do the right thing. So again, I've always been about dropping the hammer, go after everyone involved. But I don't see the owners involved here. It's like they're going after people under the owner, right? The drivers, I don't blame the drivers that much because honestly, they're taking orders from someone above. Somebody's telling them to do this. What do you want them to do? I'm not doing this. I'm just going to drive. You know, people have to understand this is the real world. These are your employers and they're ordering you to do something. You have to do it. So that's why you don't hear me, oh, Dylan and Chastain and Wallace and whoever else. Like, these guys are doing whatever they're told to do. By the way, none of these guys here have any clue what's going on. They're worried. They only know what they're doing in the race. You really think they know that, oh, Byron is 1 point out? You know, like, they're told to do this stuff. The people that fans should be really upset with are the people above the drivers and NASCAR. And then you got people like Petty on social media just carrying water for NASCAR. I don't even want to go there. It's just embarrassing. And they're making, oh no, but you know, Christopher Bell rode the wall. That's the thing they were focused on. You should focus on all of it. All of it. All of this is a problem. So I don't have a problem with any of these penalties. I don't have a problem with, you know, Bell not, you know, moving forward. But why in the world did you allow Byron to he's still racing for a championship? I didn't want to make a video on this. You guys, if you've noticed, I'm sure you have, I don't do as many NASCAR videos anymore. And even live streams, like, I rarely do them now. And it's because I'm just sick and tired of talking about these things, the stupidity of NASCAR, the inept uh, decision making, the officiating. It's just always seems to be something that detracts viewers from the actual race. This was actually a good race on Sunday, and nobody's talking about how good the race was. We even had tire wear, right? Nope. It's all about this. This is I don't understand what NASCAR is doing. Like, you don't have to be a rocket scientist, right? To see that race manipulation, no matter how big or small, is a problem. And if you don't show the public that you are dead serious about putting a stop to this, it's just going to get worse. You're going to lose more fans. This is really a slap on the wrist. And like I said, what happens to the owners? Somebody here pointed it out. All it costs is $200,000 to get your manufacturer into the Final Four. Got it. Absolutely, this is exactly correct. It's telling these owners, if you're willing to just, pay $200K in fines or whatever penalties, you could still get a manufacturer into the Final Four, or whatever your goal is, right? This is a slap on the wrist. I don't know what else to say, man. It's just, I had to get that off my chest. I am so sick and tired of talking about this stuff. It's dejecting as a fan. I want to enjoy what I'm watching, and it's so hard to do it. And it all starts at the top. It's NASCAR ownership and officiating. And the people running NASCAR are doing everything possible to ruin the sport. And like I said, this is what happens when people inherit something that they didn't build themselves. You're never going to have the same sense of appreciation that you didn't put the blood, sweat, and tears into building something. And they inherited it. They're a bunch of silver spoon, rich babies. This is why they don't officiate certain things. This is why NASCAR is full of a bunch of brats now. These rich, silver spoon-fed kids. And it's just a lot of privilege people just involved in the sport. More than ever. And it's because it does start from the top. It's this mentality that certain things are okay. We're going to look the other way until we're forced to do something. They were finally forced to do something only because of the public backlash, and they still fucked it up. They still messed it up. It's insane to me. So, I don't know what else to say, man. Those are my comments. I look forward to your comments later.